Good morning or good afternoon. This is certainly not my normal habitat. Usually there would be some stoves here and some refrigerators and countertops here, cutting boards and knives, and it's a pretty violent environment with all the fires and the knives and young people running around, you know, on Red Bull these days, as opposed to coffee. But here I am, standing before you. It's hard to believe that a little more than a generation and a half ago, chefs were considered domestic help by the U.S. Department of Labor. Thanks to a lot of recognition, the advent of food magazines, food channels, and of course through support of people like you, we now have a bona fide, recognized profession. And I'm standing here in front of hundreds of people to talk about a restaurant. It's quite unique when you come to think about it. I can't tell you how honored I am to be here. It's one of those things that someone asked you 20 years ago, well, where do you think you'll be now? And I thought, well, I'd have my own restaurant and maybe a really good chef, but standing on a stage at TEDx, I would never think I would be there. Who knew? But I want to talk to you about what a restaurant's all about, this connectivity, which is this theme that's running through the conference today, and what a restaurant is and how that connectivity relates to who we are and how we achieve what we achieve. I'd like to introduce you to the French Laundry in Yountville, California. This is what you see when you come to our restaurant. Why? Because this is about you. This is about you as an individual, your experience at that restaurant. But I see a lot of different things. Most of them are hundreds of individuals that are dedicated and committed to you. Only you. You by yourself. People ask me a lot of times about success. And I've thought about it for years, and I realize that success is not about fame. It's certainly not about fortune, recognition, awards. It's about memories. It's about the memories that we collect throughout our lives. And I'm sure each one of you have wonderful memories about things that you've done in your life, and a lot of that was about success. That defined success for me. And certainly one of those memories, or one of the biggest compliments I can receive, is when a guest comes to our restaurant, has dinner, and then comes back to the kitchen, or I meet them in the courtyard, and they say, "Chef, this reminds me of," and they go into this wonderful tale about an experience they had, I don't know, in the south of France, in Paris, in Italy, in Spain, or even in America. A great experience they had in another restaurant. And I can only hope that that individual goes on and has another great experience and says, "This reminds me of the French Laundry." Because therein lies the true meaning of success. But what are we? We're in the hospitality industry. I hate to call it industry. I haven't thought of a better word for it, but that's what we do. We think about hospitality as something that comes from inside, something that's innate, something that comes from someplace in the heart, something soulful. You can teach hospitality, but it doesn't have the same kind of impact as it does when it comes from someplace that's meaningful, some compelling reason. I'm a nurturer at heart. I was speaking to one of our fellow presenters last night, and I brought that up. I said, what I do is nurture people. I found out a long time ago what makes me happy is making you happy. It's one of the most gratifying times of my life. But let's talk about cooking for a moment, because that's what restaurants and chefs are all about, right? And cooking is a very simple equation. It's about ingredients and execution. I don't care if it's the French Laundry, Per Se, Danielle, Café Boulud, Bouchon, Ad Hoc, the diner down the street. It's all defined by the ingredients that they receive and the way they execute. Of course, our ingredients come from a wide source of individuals from all across the country. K&J Orchards in California bringing us stone fruit throughout the summer. Extraordinary couple who dedicated to peach trees, plum trees, persimmons. Of course, Sue Young Scanlon, a young biochemist, dairy scientist, who decided to make cheese. With love of music, she names the cheese after. Ingrid Benjes, a very interesting woman, a Rhodes Scholar, a woman who is a Russian literature expert who lives in Stonington, Maine, and sells lobsters to some of the best chefs in the country. I remember my first experience with Ingrid was here in New York City over 20 years ago when she began selling to a chef at Le Bernardin. And of course, her name showed up in an article, and I called her. I said, would you sell me lobsters? And she wasn't interested in selling me lobsters or any fish because she didn't know who I was. She didn't know what my standards were. It took me 2 years to get my first halibut from her. And since then, we've been connected. Wonderful lady, meaningful, supports a vast array of fishermen in Maine. Snake River Farms in Idaho, one of the premier cattle ranches in our country, bringing some of the highest quality beef to the tables that we've seen in a long time. Connie Green, a wonderful woman who lives in Napa, forages mushrooms not only herself, but has this whole underground network of people who go out in the middle of the night scouring the forest for all these wild mushrooms that they bring us. A very special woman here, Diane St. Clair, who lives in Orwell, Vermont, and named her farm the Animal Farm. I wonder why. Extraordinary woman. Read my cookbook about 9 years ago and thought, well, I'll send him some of my butter. I've got 4 cows. I make butter. I get up every morning at 5 a.m. to milk those cows. I milk them again in the afternoon so I can make some butter. I'll send it to Keller and see what he thinks about it. I received it. FedEx showed up, a little baggie with 3 little balls of butter. I tasted it. I said, wow, this is extraordinary. I said, Diane, who are you? Why did you send me this butter? And how much do you make? She said, well, I thought, from reading your book, I thought you'd be the perfect chef to showcase my butter. I make 15 pounds a week. I said, I'll buy it. Start sending 15 pounds a week. She had 3 cows at the time, Daisy, Lightning, and Scooter. They produced our butter. We opened per se. I said, Diane, we have a dilemma. We're going to need to get more cows. She did. The only time that she has off in the entire year, 7 days a week, twice a day milking her cows, the only time that she gets to get away from that is during the summer when they're calving. 3 years ago, I get a beautiful framed picture of a young cow named Keller. I said, okay, I have a cow named after me and a child. Nanoli Orchard in Hawaii, John Mood. We have something in common. John and I went to the same high school in South Florida, several years apart. He's a little bit older than I am. He became an airline pilot in Hawaii and decided that he was going to buy a peach palm orchard, 25 acres, sustainable, and start selling hearts of palm. He harvests the suckers, doesn't kill the main tree. He harvests the suckers, and he's able to supply us for the past 10 years with fresh hearts of palm. Extraordinary, John. Sterling caviar, the Sacramento Delta, where sturgeon have thrived for centuries. Sterling caviar now produces a sustainable product that we've been working with them over the past 10 years to continuously raise the standards to replace the wild caviar that we used in the past that became so rare. Don and Sally Schmidt, the original owners of the French Laundry in Philo, New York at the Apple Farm. Every week, Don drives down 4 or 5 cases of apples for us at the French Laundry. That relationship continues today. Jacobson Farms. Here's an interesting couple. Peter and Gwen, you'd never know it, but they're dentists from San Francisco who bought an acre orchard in Yountville, California, and supply us with some of the most amazing fruit that's available. 9 varieties of figs, 3 varieties of peaches, nectarines, plums. It's just extraordinary. He's gone as far as certifying the snails that come out of his farm as organic. We harvest our snails, organic snails from Jacobson's farm. And of course, a man that I'm so proud of, Tucker Taylor, our own gardener at the French Laundry. We have a 3-acre piece of land across the street where he cultivates and harvests a wide variety of vegetables, not only for the French Laundry, but also Bouchon, ad hoc. And we even send some to New York once in a while so they can see what a truly amazing radish really is. Of course, at Elysian Fields Farm, Keith Martin, a banker who decided to become a lammer. I don't understand that. I still don't understand that. He's tried to explain it to me dozens of times. Why would a banker want to become a lammer? He did. He's established a protocol for raising his animals in a holistic way that's now patented. It's extraordinary that he has now 8 farmers in western Pennsylvania, eastern Ohio, who have adopted this protocol and now raise lambs, not only for us, but for some of the other chefs around the country. These are just an example of a group of extraordinary individuals who are dedicated and committed to bringing those products and ingredients to our restaurant for you. And of course, it's not just about food, ingredients. If we think about ingredients, we have so many other things. The wine list, I don't know how many thousands of bottles we have on our list, representing dozens of countries, hundreds of producers. And you think about the generations of individuals that are part of that network as well. And then, of course, the environment that we have at our restaurant, whether it's the architecture, the interior design, the linens, the china, the glassware, the silver, it goes on. And then people you don't even see and may not even realize that are there, they're working every day for you. Reservationist, administrative staff, human resources, public relations, accountants, all making sure that our restaurant runs in a way that's going to be efficient, effective, so that we in the restaurant, we cooks, we servers, we sommeliers, can give you the experience that you expect. The second part of the equation, execution. What is execution? Execution is about skills, skill levels, right? What defines a great chef? What defines a great server? What defines a great sommelier is his skill level. And what we do at the restaurant, 3 things that are critical. Hiring, making sure that we identify the right individuals to come to our restaurant. I don't interview everybody, but I try to get involved in the culinary side of it because I am a cook. And when I ask a young culinarian, why do you want to work here? Why do you want to cook? Oh, chef, man, I can't tell you how passionate I am about what I do. I go, okay, that's interesting, passionate. I'm passionate as well. I'm passionate about the first asparagus I see, the first baby spring lamb that comes in the back door. Yes, I'm really passionate about that. But after a week or two, what happens? My passion kind of subsides. It goes down a little bit because I've already seen it. I've been experiencing it for a couple weeks. I'm kind of over it a little bit, but I still have an amazing asparagus that's still coming in the back door. I still have amazing spring lamb. What is it that's important to me in recognizing that individual that he should be working at our restaurant? Or what is it in me that continues to drive me? It's desire. Desire. Desire trumps passion every time. It's nice to be passionate, and passion's going to help move that desire higher, but when that passion's not there, what do you need? That desire, that strong sense of desire. Training, another important element in execution. We've hired the person. We've made him realize that passion is not the most important thing, that he better find that something inside, that desire that's going to continue to drive him for the next 20, 25, 30, 35 years in this industry. We want to train them. He's in the door. We want to give them the training that they need in order to be able to execute the expectations that we have for you. Seminars, Purveyors come in, suppliers come in, Keith Martin comes in, or Armando Mani comes in. They talk about what they do, how they do it, what they produce, what their points are, what their vision is. Seminars, wine seminars, not only in the Napa Valley, but around the world. We send our staff out, our teams that go out to do these seminars. An amazing, vast library of culinary books, wine books, service manuals. We write our own service manuals, update them on a yearly basis, making sure that the team has update information. Of course, the third part, mentorship. That man on the left, Roland Hennon, taught me why I cook. He was my mentor. He's my mentor today. Mentorship is such an important part of success. We continue to mentor our staff. We assign mentors. We ask you who you want your mentor to be. It's a process that we embrace wholeheartedly. Another part is the tools. We have to have the right tools. People always talk to me, what should I buy? What kind of tools should I buy? Buy the best. Go out and buy the best because the best will last. The best hat makes a difference. Whether it's the stove, the saute pan, the knife, the cutting board, the strainer, the spoon, I don't care what it is. Get the best. Get what you're comfortable with. It'll last forever. Leadership. Becoming a leader. Giving the team, those individuals, the confidence and courage they need to execute. Jonathan Beno here. Some of you may know Jonathan Beno. He began at the French Laundry in 1996. Later became chef of Per Se. Today he has his own restaurant. Jonathan came to me as a young chef de partie. A chef de partie is an individual who works on a specific station. In this case, Jonathan was the fish cook. He came to me one day, and Jonathan does this. He said, "Chef," he does that when he's making a point. He points at you with all 4 fingers and his thumb underneath. "Chef," I mean, you know he's serious. I'm not going to have a cutting board on my station tonight. And I'm working. I'm busy. It's back in the old days when everybody had a lot to do, and not that we don't today, but I was more immersed in it. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever. That's interesting. You're not going to have a cutting board on your station. Yes, I'm going to be so prepared. I have so much confidence in my ability to have my mise en place done that I'm not going to need a cutting board. Now, every chef de partie in every restaurant has a cutting board on their station. Some of them need a cutting board. The butcher needs a cutting board to carve the steak. Jonathan was doing fish. Everything's in place. Everything's ready to go. All he has to do is cook and serve it. I said, okay, that's fine. Don't have a cutting board. At the end of the service, flawless. It's become the new standard for that station because Jonathan Beno had the confidence and courage to step outside of what was the norm in any restaurant and say, I'm going to do better. I'm going to create a new standard. We all know that it's not about any one individual. It's about a team. We give credit to those individuals, whether it's the quarterback, the CEO, or the chef, for that matter, for everything that is accomplished. I love to be part of a team. A team, to me, is a family. It's a way of achieving a higher goal than ever we could thought about. But it's also a lot of fun. It's our soccer team. Of course, I'm the coach. We also love to share success, celebrate them with each other. Can you imagine celebrating a success on your own? When we receive an award, it's about that celebration. Let's get the champagne out. Let's pat each other on the back. Let's give everybody a hug. Let's celebrate that. I look to the San Francisco Giants. Now, here's a team that nobody thought could do what they did. But it was through determination and teamwork that they were able to achieve something that nobody thought they were ever capable of doing. Teamwork. It's all about that teamwork. There's this idea out there that Thomas Keller is this, all-seeing person. And I think that's pretty prevalent with most chefs. We go to the market in the morning, pick out all the produce, run over to the fish market, get all the fish, go to the butcher, get all the meat, come back, we fabricate it all, we cook it all, we don't eat, we don't sleep, we barely breathe, we're there, that's it, we do everything. But that's not the case. That's not the case. It's about the group of individuals who are focused and determined to bring you a great experience. We talk about that culture. That culture certainly did begin with me, the philosophy of what we do. And one of the cornerstones of our philosophy is just do a little better than yesterday. Come to work with that idea and goal in your mind. Just a little better. I don't care if your shoe's a little shinier, you've learned how to tie your apron a little tighter, your knife is a little sharper, your brunoise is a little more exact, just a little better than yesterday. That's all you have to do. And as the days go on, the weeks go on, the months go on, the years goes on, you end up someone like me. One of the most meaningful decisions I've ever made at the French Laundry 16 years ago was to change the menu every day. Every day. Something that was almost unheard of, and certainly something that wasn't practiced at the extent that we do. We get together at the end of the night, all the chefs, the chef de parties, the sous chefs, around the table with our lists of the ingredients that we've ordered, Tucker's farmer's list, or the garden list, all these different pieces of information we have. And we start to collaboratively work on the menu for the next day. We have a rule where there's no repetition. So during the evening, someone say it's corn season, someone on the meat station say, I got corn, which means that at the end of the night, when we start to do the menu, he's already dibbed the corn because no one else can use corn. The result of that is extraordinary. That menu is outlined the night before. The sous chef comes in the morning at 5:30. He looks at the menu. He starts to verify the quality of the ingredients that are coming into the restaurant. And he's able to modify the menu as we go. The efforts is extraordinary. Green tape. Just a little story about green tape. It's something that we use everywhere. Taping down the pass, taping down our menus. We tore the green tape for 10 years. We tore the green tape for 10 years. Chefs like Grant Achatz, Eric Ziebold, Jonathan Beno tore the green tape. When we were getting ready to open Per Se, a young group of people were coming to New York City to inoculate this new group. I gave them a pep talk. I said, I want you to go there and set an example, make an impact. A young expediter at the time, Zion Cruel, who taped down the pass at the French Laundry every night, had this in his mind. I'm not sure what he was thinking. February 16th, 2004, he's taping down the pass at Per Se. What does he do? Pulls out a pair of scissors and cuts the tape. Jaws drop. It becomes a standard for our restaurant. Becomes a standard for our restaurant. Hiring, training, mentoring, confidence, courage, rapid rate of evolution. It's all for you. We want to make sure that your experience is one that's compelling and memorable. I've been doing this for 35 years. It's something that I focused my life on. This sat on my desk every day as I was trying to purchase the French Laundry. Having a dream is hard, living it is harder. My biggest asset at the time was my ignorance. Had I known what I was have to go through, I never would have done it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to try. We have mentored hundreds of individuals that have come through our restaurant over the past 16 years. Our legacy is through them and what they've done in their own restaurants. People like Eric Ziebold, Grant Achatz, Jonathan Beno, Corey Lee, that continues this connection with who we are as culinarians, as restaurateurs, as nurturers, and we do it all for you. Thank you.